Good afternoon, and welcome to my organizational analysis of American Fidelity. I chose American Fidelity because it's currently the company that I work for, and in an effort to get a better understanding of the company, I decided that I wanted to find out how things work behind the scenes and just better understand how the company functions on a day-to-day basis. First, I started by interviewing one of my friends with the company, Daniel Gonzalez. Daniel and I both started as claims adjusters a little over a year ago with American Fidelity. Now he is currently doing employee onboarding and orientation for all new hires that come into the company. His job description includes educating employees about American Fidelity's structure, values, and vision. And so because of that training that he's had on the company's culture, I thought that there would be no one better than him to go and ask these questions to for this assignment. First, let's talk about American Fidelity's strategy. The first thing that American Fidelity does extremely well is focusing on their niche clients. There are 4 sectors that American Fidelity currently operates in. First is municipalities. This includes state and local governments, organizations, and nonprofit organizations. The primary sector of their business is in the education market. They work with boards of education, school districts, educators, and even support staff to provide benefits to them in that market. Next, and a smaller section of our business, is hospitals. We do provide benefits for national and local healthcare brands, even some here within Oklahoma. We also provide benefits individually to doctors, nurses, and the support staff that make the hospital operate. Finally, our second largest book of business is dealerships. We work with the salesmen, the mechanics, the finance department, the accounting department, also those that are transporting the vehicles back and forth between dealerships, and also other support staffs as well. They are also included and eligible for those benefits. Now, you may ask yourself, what benefits does American Fidelity offer? We offer disability coverage for those that are not able to work due to being hurt off the job. Also, we offer accident insurance to those that may have had an accident while on or off the job and need that extra assistance to keep them financially secure. One of our main products as well is cancer insurance. For those that are going through cancer, we offer benefits directly to them to help keep them financially secure as well while they're going through that cancer treatment and provide that extra money that major medical wouldn't pay for. We do offer lump sum critical illness plans if someone is diagnosed with a critical illness such as heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal failure, any of those major diseases. We provide that extra lump sum to pay for those large medical costs. We also offer term life and whole life coverage for those who are needing that, and also that is something that they are able to keep whenever they leave their employer. These are not group products that they lose upon retirement or leaving the job. And finally, we offer dental and vision coverage to them whenever they leave their employer to make sure that they're able to retain those benefits if something were to happen and they were to need those products. Now, what are American Fidelity's company goals and objectives so that they can target this niche client and be able to grow the brand? What sets American Fidelity apart from its competition? First, highly trained staff. Now, this may take a little while to get someone from point A to point B whenever they start a job, and many times American Fidelity does hire people with no experience in a particular position if it's not warranted that they have any previous experience. But we do have an award-winning training program that helps to educate our employees and colleagues as to the importance of our brand and what we're doing, as well as making sure that they know how to do their job well. Second thing that American Fidelity is very good at is employer education. We have field managers that are salaried representatives that go out and invest time in making sure our employers understand the importance of having these products. It's not just something that they're selling to their employees that they take money out of their paychecks for each month. We want them to understand the value of offering this to their employees, and in a way that can cause them to retain employees, even to keep them from going to a competitor and changing jobs to go and take their skills and expertise elsewhere. We use it as a way to be able to help them sell to the employees the importance of keeping the coverage when we're not there to fill in that gap. As I mentioned previously, we do have salaried account managers that we offer to our employers. What they do is they go out and communicate also with the customer and do enrollments whenever this employer has picked that time to do so. And their purpose primarily, yes, while it is educating the employer, it's also to focus on the customer needs first and to really be the eyes and the ears of American Fidelity. Their job is to find what the employees and the employers are offering to their employees and how we can improve upon what they may currently be offering through a different provider. But also, whenever they are doing business with the company, their job is to listen to what the customer is saying, what the employer's needs are, and what products or services we can offer to meet those needs. And finally, product portability. As I mentioned previously, a lot of our products that we offer to employers are something that can be given to the employee that they take with them when they leave or retire from the job. And that is a huge thing that American Fidelity does differently than other employers. Other companies. Other companies will offer group-only benefits that are something that is just tied to the job, and so they will pay money into these benefits and then frustrated when they leave and they can't keep them. And American Fidelity has tried to take a different approach and has tried to offer plans that can be retained when they leave their job. Next, let's talk about the structure of American Fidelity. First, I just want to begin with who our executive leadership is. First and foremost, I want to talk about CB and CW Cameron. They're very integral to the culture that has been created here at American Fidelity. CB is actually the grandfather of our current chairman of Cameron Enterprises, Bill Cameron. And CB was the founder of American Fidelity many, many, many years ago. His son also helped him run the company when he became of age. And unfortunately, both of them were killed in a plane crash, which prompted Mr. Bill Cameron to take over and carry on the legacy of his father and grandfather. As I mentioned, Bill Cameron is our chairman of Cameron Enterprises. American Fidelity is only one of many companies under the umbrella of Cameron Enterprises. We also offer international products as well under the heading of Chairman Enterprises. And he is in charge of making sure that all of the companies under that heading are run and managed well. Dave Carpenter is our Chief Operating Officer at American Fidelity. He is responsible for all of the departments and all of the operations that go on within the company, and is responsible for making sure that American Fidelity meets its target goals for sales and growth each year. And finally, Jeanette Rice. Jeanette is the Chief Executive Officer here at American Fidelity, and she is an exceptional boots-on-the-ground lady. I can count more than on my hands how many times I've seen Jeanette and interacted with her during my time at American Fidelity. And for someone who is more of a lower-level worker, that is amazing to have happen. And it just speaks to the testament of the leadership and the culture at American Fidelity. Also, just kind of wanted to touch on the decision making and how that works within American Fidelity. As you can see here, day-to-day decisions are regulated to the lowest level to allow colleagues more autonomy during the workday, but also to allow middle management the flexibility to focus time and energy elsewhere when necessary. And so, if I need to make a decision, I am not penalized for making a decision as an employee when there is not a manager to ask. I'm given the autonomy to be able to do that and be able to take care of the customer in real time. Also, we do have several committees throughout our organization that they meet regularly. This is also including the executive leadership and the middle management as well. Each floor has a department head that meets with all of the other departments regularly to disseminate any information about what each department is working on, what projects are going on, and just to help with that interdepartmental communication, which is very crucial. It's very important for employees to know what's going on in other departments so that they can be able to compensate for strengths and weaknesses of other areas as well. These meetings are also used to create new and or develop any current ideas in order to benefit the customer, our colleagues, or the company as well. This can include, but it's not limited to, email communication, group chats, conference calls, or face-to-face meetings. American Fidelity has embraced a very mobile atmosphere. Each employee has a laptop and they're able to work from home during inclement weather or when that's needed to be able to take care of family issues and those sorts of things. It's been very convenient for me to be able to have the opportunity to be able to work here from my home, right where I'm sitting right now. If something is needed for my family, I'm able to still provide services to my employer and take care of my family, which is very, very nice. Next, let's talk about American Fidelity systems. American Fidelity embraces technology and is always looking to improve. They're always looking for ways to be able to innovate, and I want to talk about some of the systems that they've created and used within the organization to be able to develop. First, AF Enroll. AF Enroll is the heart of our company because that is how our account managers enroll new clients into our system. This is employers. It is also employees. It is a company-created proprietary software that enrolls, imports, updates, and manages all customers' policies and personal information. It's how we make sure that our customers are well taken care of, their information is up to date, and we have a good record of all policies that they have and what benefits they're entitled to. Moving along into our benefits workview software. This is where our claim documents are imported and stored so that our claims adjusters can process them in a timely manner. In previous decades, paperwork had to be received manually through the mail, and things would get lost and would have to be sorted into different areas. And this provides a efficient way for our adjusters to be able to quickly and accurately process customer claims and get them their benefits quickly. That is a goal of the benefits team and the adjusters, is to make sure that their customers have their benefits processed and in their hand within 7 to 10 business days. Next, I want to talk about an internal program that is mostly used by colleagues. It's called ServiceNow, and it's something that was developed by our IT department. It's a support ticket management software program, and it's used to track and solve employee technology issues. Now, this could be employee as myself as a colleague working for American Fidelity, but it's also provided to our employers so that they can communicate any issues that they're having to us with the enrollment or billing software that they're using, so that we can quickly take care of that, because it is very important for an employer to be able to have accurate information and be able to update that regularly for their employees. And it also absolves American Fidelity of a lot of the burden to be able to have to manage that during that time. And finally, we have a retention database that was created in my department that I was able to assist with. It's a software that we use specifically in my department, the conservation team, to track and to make sure that we can prevent any incorrect policy lapses. Oftentimes, employers will make mistakes and remove customers' information from their billing. They may drop plans accidentally. And so we have a way to be able to track that and correct any issues, as well as we have the ability to reach out to customers to ensure that they know what the benefits of their plans are if they did decide to drop any plans, and try to help them continue those plans going forward. It's a company it's something that we have created in order to be able to retain business for American Fidelity and offer additional products to a customer. But it's mostly meant to make sure that our employers are able to understand and manage a little bit more efficiently their employee information, and to prevent some of those lapses from happening. My apologies. Moving right along. Next, I want to talk about American Fidelity's shared values. As we all know, the vision of a company sets it apart as being continually successful or eventually phasing out and no longer being relevant to its consumers. And American Fidelity has a set of 5 shared values that are communicated to all employees upon entering the company. The person I interviewed, Daniel Gonzalez, was able to give me a lot of insight into why these 5 things were important, and made sure that I had a good understanding to be able to communicate it to you in this section of the McKinsey 7S framework. And so, first and foremost, always fair. American Fidelity, to me and to other customers and coworkers I've seen, is always striving to make sure that they treat employees and customers in a fair manner. And the reason that's important is because in the industry, in insurance, it's not seen by customers as insurance companies taking care of them. It's more seen as a money grab and a way to make sure that the company stays afloat, so to speak. And so the company is very focused on making sure that whenever there's an opportunity to serve the client, we choose that opportunity to be fair to them and take care of them in that moment. Second, always focused. American Fidelity has a good understanding, and it knows where to focus its resources to meet the customer needs. One thing that I've noticed in my time with American Fidelity is that they make sure to focus on certain things very heavily because they're the things that the customers are most having issues with on a regular basis, and so they want to make sure that they get ahead of the game and take care of those issues. Primarily things like employee enrollment, any billing issues. They're always trying to make sure that they take care of those things, making sure that we reach out to customers when they retire, as I mentioned previously, to help offer additional products and make sure that we can retain their business and keep them as a lifelong customer. And so that is one thing that they do very well, although I will speak a little bit later as to why that can be something that is detrimental to the company as well. Third, always future-oriented. American Fidelity is always looking for opportunities to create a product or a service to provide to a customer, or just anticipating their needs and making sure that if anything is required to grow the brand, that they're embracing those changes in technology and adapting the products to meet the customer's needs. The insurance industry is always evolving. There's always new competitors popping up, especially in the education market. And so we have to be ahead of the game and make sure that we understand what the customer is needing before they know what they need. Fourth is always flexible. I would say that American Fidelity does a very good job of making sure that they're willing to understand and meet the customer's needs. As I said, developing products to make sure that the customer, if they are asking for something, that we meet that need, even if they don't know what that need is, or, as I said, if they're asking for that need. Also, just making sure that we respond in a timely manner to those needs. Flexibility is something that's needed in any industry to grow. And I think if a company sets its feet in the sand and said, this is the way we're going to do things, then that is going to lead to the company eventually ceasing to be relevant. And so moving along, 5 is always financially secure. American Fidelity focuses a great deal on making sure that before they reach out into a new venture, that they have their current financial obligations taken care of. Every year, we have a a thing that we go to. It's called Colleague Connection, and it's a 2-hour seminar where we are met by a person who is ahead of each department to make sure that we understand what's going on in the company, what are the new developments, what brands are growing, what brands are struggling, how our departments are affecting the bottom line of the company, but also what our customer service needs are, and what our customers are saying about our brand. And I think that communication of our financial security, it produces a sort of ease within the colleagues to help them understand and know that they're taking care of the customers and their efforts are being taken into account for growing the brand. Next, I want to talk about style. What is American Fidelity style? First, I want to talk about leadership and management. The leadership and management at American Fidelity is all in. American Fidelity's management team is ranked very highly among colleagues. Each year, employees are required to fill out an assessment. It's called the Berkman 360 Leadership Assessment. And that assessment is used to evaluate management, their styles, their strengths, and their weaknesses. And the manager is required to communicate that feedback from the Berkman 360 Leadership Assessment to the employer. The management also sits down with a consultant that helps them understand how to compensate for those strengths and weaknesses and how they can improve going forward in the future. Now, daily decisions, as I mentioned previously, are made at the lowest level, which I think is very important. It's important because it sets the tone for a company. If the employees don't have the autonomy to make decisions, then certain things are going to get locked in, and there's not going to be any movement from there. Now, the management team is required to be hands-on and participatory. They're not allowed to just disengage from what's going on. They're evaluated on how well they engage and build relationships with the people that they work with. And that starts from day one. That includes with colleagues, with upper management, and with lower level employees. The assessment wants to know how they interact with all sectors of people that they work around with. As I mentioned, yearly management assessments are conducted by colleagues. On top of the Berkman 360 Leadership Assessment, each employee is also required to conduct a self-assessment of their performance for the year. And that is also an opportunity where you separately get to provide feedback to American Fidelity specifically regarding the management and how they are performing in their current job duties. I would say that there's a healthy balance between cooperativeness and competitiveness. And the reason I say that is because ambition can sometimes create competitiveness, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that there are a lot of employees that have learned a skill set and are very good at their job, but they want to try something new. And so in order to do that, you have to build relationships and you have to compete for that position. But also, I don't see any unhealthy striving to undercut another employee in order to get a position. I feel like the overall atmosphere at American Fidelity is cooperative. And when speaking with Daniel, he gets feedback 1 year after an employee starts, and he asks them a bunch of questions about this. And he said that overall, the feedback that he gets is very positive, stating that employees are enjoying their job and they're happy with the leadership and the management at the company. Next, let's talk about staff. The first team that I want to talk about here at American Fidelity, and is an important part of our staff, is our safety and quality management team. Their job is to assess and develop the operations of all departments within American Fidelity. They work closely with our Chief Operating Officer to provide him feedback for what employees are saying about their departments and what can be improved upon and done better. A lot of that information is taken to our LEAN team, which stands for Lean Educators Academic Network. And they are a creative team who focuses on product development and innovation. Their job is to understand not only what the colleagues are saying about what's going on in their job that can be improved, but what are employees and employees saying? And they're the ones that are able to come up with the products and the plans that need to be implemented to make those change. After that, a lot of that is taking back to the safety and quality management team for implementation. The benefits team reviews and processes any insurance claims for our customers. They also answer questions that the client may have about their claims and communicates decisions to the employees whether or not their claims are able to be paid and meet the guidelines within their policy. Next is our enrollment and billing team. As I mentioned previously, the software that we have is something that was created by the company, and so it requires a lot of support, and it is a large team. Our enrollment and billing team processes new and existing customer product enrollments. What that means is if we have a current employee that wants to add additional products, they handle that. If there's a new employee that is coming on to a company, they handle completing the enrollment and setting up the billing through the employer to make sure that those policies and premiums are paid at the specific time. And finally, the conservation department, which is my department. What we do is set up direct payment for customers once they leave or retire from their employer. That is a primary part of our job. However, we come along a lot of times where employees did not request to drop policies or their policies were lapsed in error, and we have to correct that as well. These are 5 teams that are crucial to the success of American Fidelity. There's a lot of different departments that I wasn't able to mention within this section and fall under a lot of the headings of these teams. They're very important, but they also provide support services to each of these departments as well and make sure that they are running smoothly. Next is skills. I want to touch on a few things that I feel that American Fidelity is very skilled in. A few of them I've already assessed previously, but I felt that they were worth another mention. First, company management. We have highly trained management teams within each company department. They're regularly assessed, they're regularly trained, they go to seminars, they go to meetings, they also go to assessments, and this could be something that's from 1 week to 90 days I've seen for training. And so it's something that American Fidelity really values and places a lot of investment into. Next is position specialist. Each employee must master their current position before learning any other specialty. There is a 6-month waiting period before any employee can go and apply for another job. And I know 6 months doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're doing a job Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, you become very proficient in a job in a short amount of time, and I think many people can attest to that. And so that becomes an asset for an employer, and they want to make sure that you understand what the role of the position is and have a good opportunity to determine whether or not you think it would be a good fit for you or not. Another thing is American Fidelity has extremely low turnover. It's very, very hard to get employed at American Fidelity because it's extremely selective and only takes the top talent. And so with that, they retain a lot of colleagues. And our customer satisfaction scores are very high because our employees are specialists at their positions. And then again, yearly assessments. We have self and manager reviews to determine competency within the role. Each year, raises are based off of these assessments within the company, and they make sure that you have a good personal understanding of where you stand with the company and know what your manager thinks about your performance. So there's no gray areas and there's no lack of understanding on what the position requires. As I mentioned previously, American Fidelity does choose to hire only the top talent in their organization. The company's resolve to never settle for less than the best has set them apart as a Fortune 100 company. This is for 14 years in a row now. Now, this in turn has generated long-term growth for American Fidelity, producing happy, highly skilled workers who choose to stay with the company for many years, often until retirement. Our company is always having retirement parties, and they do one for each employee individually who's retiring. And so I think that's a good testament to how the company values the years of service their employees have given them. In conclusion, I wanted to provide you with my final assessment of American Fidelity. Most of this area is going to be talking about what the company can improve upon, because I've talked about a lot of things in this presentation that they have done well at, but there are a few areas that I feel that the company can improve. First, I want to talk about company expansion. I personally recommend that American Fidelity look at expanding into other sectors of business. As I mentioned, currently they're focusing on 4 areas, which has been successful for them, and I think that they can branch out on that. I think it's going to be increasingly more difficult for the company to sustain its sales growth without branching out into these other areas of business, and I believe that American Fidelity has the stability financially and just relationally with their employers to endure any difficulties that may come during the attempts to gain market share within these other industries. The company should also consider hiring consulting firms to research and determine the best markets to begin offering its products to, and then use that feedback to grow the brand. I think there's going to be a lot of development that would be involved in that for creating products for other sectors of business, and so it would be good for them to have a good understanding of how their current products would meet the needs of these other industries. Finally, I think that there could be some training improvements. I also recommend that they focus more attention on improving the training in some of its lower level positions. Oftentimes, which was the case with myself when I first started, employers are thrown in and made to sink or swim. And I think that a lot of this comes from the fact that because the training program is so highly recognized, there's a lot of pressure on trainers to throw a lot of information at the employees within a short amount of time and then sort of let them grow, because they know that they're going to try to keep people for many years to come. But it creates undue strain on the colleague, and it causes difficulty on other employees on the team. Now that I've been there for a while, I've been in a position where I've watched an employee struggle with that, and myself having to do what someone had to do for me and compensate for that to try to help train. I think that each department can start by taking and designating its top trained colleagues to train new colleagues the same way to create consistency among the departments. And I think that that would be a good use of that autonomy and free up some of the higher level employees who maybe aren't in those management positions to get that leadership experience. I think it can just help also avoid any unneeded confusion during employee training and make sure that they get all of their questions answered in a timely manner. Well, this is the end of my organizational analysis of the McKinsey S7 framework for American Fidelity. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch and for joining me today. I hope that you've enjoyed it and that you have felt that my assessment was fair of the company, but also critical to find those areas where the company needed development. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good day.